Are you someone who likes to file your taxes on your own? If you are, then you should consider TaxSlayer when you are preparing your 2019 taxes in 2020. Here's what you need to know about it. Hey guys, welcome back to the College Investor, Investing and Personal Finance for Millennials. And we are covering a review of TaxSlayer. Now, this is a tax software that you can access online and file your taxes. And what makes this one really unique and a standout is that you can file your federal and state tax return for free on one condition. That is, if you have a W-2 and you are wanting to claim student loan interest, and that's it, then you can get a federal and state return done for free through TaxSlayer. Now, you can't claim any other deductions or credits. It only applies to those two things, so it's a very unique situation. Otherwise, they do have other pricing packages which we can go over. Okay, let's get into TaxSlayer's pricing plans because they do have a few options. All right, so TaxSlayer actually comes with a couple of different packages other than the simply free version, which I've mentioned. You may want to look into the classic option. So the classic option is $17 plus additional for the state return, and the state return is $29. And if you have to prepare multiple state returns, then you'll be paying that multiple times. So $29 plus $17. You can import your W-2, which is really awesome. I love that. You can also include all deductions and credits and is good for those with dependents. Now, a step up from that is the premium version at $37. And again, it's the $29 per state return. You get everything in classic, plus the audit assist, and you get support and live chat from a real tax pro, which is really nice. And then a step up from that is self-employed. So if you're a freelancer, consultant, run your own business, then you'll be looking at the $47 option, which includes everything in premium, plus the 1099 and Schedule C support. And if you're trying to do this on your own with the Schedule C plus everything else, if you have more to add to your taxes and it's a little bit more unique, then you may want to look at that option. Okay, let's go ahead and do a walkthrough of what it looks like inside of TaxSlayer to file your tax return. Okay, so once you have created your account, you will be greeted with this little dashboard here. You deserve the best. Cool. What I really like from the get-go is this handy little menu, which is kind of fun. It toggles back and forth, so I thought that was kind of nice for user experience. And then it kind of gives you a breakdown of what we're going to do. So I'm going to click continue and get started. Okay, so now it's asking me for a review of the legal information and then giving them a signature just to make sure that everything that I put in here is true and valid and how they are going to use that information. Okay, next it's going to ask you, and it almost seems like you have to pick one of the paid versions, but you don't. You can actually scroll to the bottom and click no thanks, continue with simply free, which is what I'm going to do. And then I'll show you how we can do the W-2s and the student loan interest deduction. However, I think a lot of people are probably going to fit better into the premium or the classic versions. Okay, and a note about calculations could change as the IRS changes their instructions for the tax year, so good note. I haven't seen that before, so that's kind of interesting. And here's where TaxSlayer is a little bit different than some of these other value tax software, is that you can go ahead and automatically upload a W-2, which I love. If you don't have a PDF handy, you can just skip this and then go straight into inputting your information manually. Okay, I'm just filling out my personal information, and this is all dummy information. None of this is actually legitimate. I'm just filling this out so that we can continue to look through the dashboard together. Okay, then you'll want to go through any additional information and check any of these that apply. I'll go ahead and say filing as a single. I don't have any dependents. Okay, let's do this hashtag slay it. All right. So this is interesting with the Simply Free edition is they're giving me the option to do a quick file or do more of a traditional style of entry. So I'm curious what the quick file is. Select the forms you have to enter and will take you directly to those forms to complete. Easy. Now I think this is going to be really easy if you have just a few forms. So I'll put in W-2 and then I'll put in what I have on hand, which is that student loan interest, the 1098E. And what's cool about this dashboard so far is I didn't know the tax form code for student loan interest, so I started typing in student loan interest, and then the form number popped up, and now it's kind of keeping a running list of what I have. So rather than going through all of the different step-by-step questions, it looks like you can just focus on the tax forms that you have in hand, hence the name Quick File. So that's pretty slick. Okay, so if you have a W-2, then you would go ahead and insert the information that you have on your physical W-2. Now, you do have the option to import your W-2, but because this is a dummy account, I'll just go ahead and fill this in manually, but I do like that option. Okay, now I'm just gonna go ahead and finish filling out the rest of the form. Once you get done entering in your information or importing your W-2, then you will be greeted kind of with the statement page, and then you can see over on the right-hand side there's a refund summary, and so far I'm getting a federal refund of $4,100. Pretty nice. So click continue. And then I can go straight into that student loan interest deduction form, grab my 1098E, and enter in the amount. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to do. You can go into these different areas and add in your income or deductions, other taxes, add a state return. And then once the state returns are available, typically in mid-January, you'll see this option pop back up, and then you can input your information for your state return. All right, next I'm going to go move forward with health insurance. This seems kind of like the next logical step here. Right, I'm going to say, yes, I had health insurance. Did you purchase health insurance? No. If you have additional family members, nope, just me. Okay, now it's taking me to the calculation summary. I was able to input my W-2, input my student loan interest deduction, and a little bit of the health insurance coverage questionnaire. So this is what they have reported for me so far. And then I can click continue. And that's it. I really like this a lot actually because I didn't have to go through a whole bunch of questions and other things that don't apply to me. Once e-filing is ready and it says right here Friday, January 3rd, then you can come back into TaxSlayer and click submit. Now, if you did want to be more diligent with your tax return and looking for deductions and credits, then I would say you could go back and do the more traditional approach and then go through each section line by line. It's a little bit more time consuming, but you may be able to find deductions and credits that you hadn't thought of, or maybe additional paperwork that you need to put in. But I really do like the ease and convenience of just being able to put in the forms that you have in hand, that you know that's all you have. And you can do that very easily with that quick file option with TaxSlayer. So after a ton of improvements. TaxSlayer has definitely upped their game and rivals some of the big competitors like TurboTax and H&R Block. You will have to have some base knowledge of how to file your tax return on your own, but we think this competes with some of the big players. Free filers may do better at looking at something like H&R Block. However, if you want to pay for additional support, go with the premium version with TaxSlayer. It's a great value that comes at the right price. For more information on tax reviews, be sure to visit thecollegeinvestor.com.